Hey everybody, Brad from Headhunter Spearfishing here, down in the southern Bahamas, and came over here actually to try and surf a little bit, but managed to bring our newest Polespear with us. That's the 3-piece Centerline Polespear, and I'm going to take some time this morning to put that together, kind of show you how that works. I'm going to compare it to the 4-piece Centerline, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about what makes the Centerline different from the Predator or the Nomad. So stick around. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I wanted to take a couple minutes and make another video to show some of the details of the Centerline Polespear system, and specifically show the new 9-foot version of this spear that we are now offering. So I'll back up real quick and talk about the Centerline. This is a spear that was originally designed by Luke Malis in Long Island in the Bahamas. And what he did is he ran a cable from the front to the back and used the tension on that cable to keep all the parts together. So instead of glued in fittings where you might thread together all the different sections of your spear, this spear uses a length of 480-pound coated cable on swivels running from one end to the other. It loads that up with tension, and that holds everything together, but it also allows you to go after fish that might break your spear, or be in situations where your spear might get broken, and you're not going to lose your fish, because the band has 800-pound reinforcing running through it. It's 800-pound Spectra. It's connected to the cable. The cable runs the tip. The tip is on a quick link that the tip can't come past the nose cone on the spear, and now everything is connected by 480-pound cable. So even if you shot the fish of a lifetime and had a heartbreaking moment where your spear broke on the reef, or a shark snapped it in half, you still stand a good chance of landing it because you have that cable running through it. So I'm going to break this thing down. Sorry for scratching my legs. There's crazy no seams today. So starting with the band, the spear is already together, so I'm going to show taking it apart. You start with the band. The band, unlike a normal band that would just have a wishbone tied in the ends, this one actually has Spectra running all the way through it. So it's a little bit different, just a little, when you're putting it on the spear. And essentially what you have is two ends, if I can get them apart, two ends, each with a loop, and that's reinforced. That spear, or that spear band, you get to a certain point, it just stops on the Spectra, so you can't overstretch it. So that's the band. The second thing you do is there's a threaded fitting coming out of the spear, and then there's a nut that we machine that goes on it. And loosen that nut up, and now there's no more tension on this spear. This spear can come apart. When the band's on, it keeps that nut captive, so everything kind of stays in line. And by taking the band off, you can now take the nut off, and everything's loose, and what you've got is just a carbon fiber tube. They're super durable. Now with everything like this, you can now take this spear, and you can see there's these fittings. These are all precision ground to fit the exact diameter of these tubes, and everything can kind of fold like this and come apart, and you've got 30 inches to travel with, which is shorter than a freediving fin. So if you can fit these in a bag, you can fit this in a bag. It's very light spear, has less going on. The titanium injector rod also reduces some of the weight. So I'll put this back together now, but you can see it's got a lot going on. And so this spear is not for someone who just wants to thread two sections together and not understand how their gear works. The spear is for someone who really appreciates high-end equipment and is willing to take the time to kind of learn how it all goes together, because there are separate systems going on here. So I'll start at the tip end now. The tip passes through this swivel ring, which I'll do a close-up of. And when you put everything together, you got to make sure you put this swivel ring. It's like a bigger version of a slide ring you'd see on a spear gun slip tip. That goes onto this fitting. And then your cable attaches into there and is on a swivel. So you can actually rotate and spin this cable, and it's held in place with a set screw. The tip can rotate and spin because, again, this band is on a cable, or is on a swivel. So everything here would go together like this. Then you want your fitting in here, your tube, all right, your next fitting. And then the hardest part is going to be just getting this through here. Now all your sections are together. You've got this fitting sticking out. Throw on the nut, the band. You take your two loops, place them together, pass them into the back, and pass it through itself. And now you are in business with your 9-foot centerline. Ready to go. Now, I do have to say that we set these bands up to be really powerful. We have between 50 and 62 pounds of pull on the bands, and that does a good job throwing the spear, but it's also a very difficult spear for some people to hold. Our goal with this is a high performance spear. Everything in it, the fittings, the way it's rigged, the materials we use, the 2-foot titanium injector rod, the longer slip tips, everything Spectra or coated cable. I mean, everything that goes into this thing is designed for high performance. And so we have a powerful band. We have another video on YouTube where you can see Luke taking 13, 14-foot shots with the spear and just stoning fish. And that's not something that you can do with most pole spears. And a powerful band is part of what allows that to happen. The other thing that you see is that this 9-foot version, as well as the 12-foot version, they don't have rollers on them. And we've done that because both Luke and myself have had terrible experiences using rollers in blue water. You can't reinforce the roller band itself because of the fact that it goes over a roller. The inner core won't slip once it makes that 180-degree bend. And so you'd have to have a secondary reinforcement, whether it's a breakaway tip or a secondary leash. And what ends up happening is you dive all day and nothing goes wrong, and you take a shot on the fish of the day, the fish of the trip, and when you shoot, the spear goes forward, the band gets sucked into the roller, the band grabs your breakaway setup or your extra leash or whatever it is, and it sucks it into the pulley too, and everything just stops. It hits the brakes, and it's a heartache of a moment. And so by just going with a powerful traditional band on a really long spear, you're not sacrificing that much, and you're just getting a more robust, more reliable, simpler system that we feel is best for blue water use. We can reinforce the bands, you can clip your float line right off to the band. It makes everything simple, everything's in line, and you don't have to have all this crazy rigging floating around or tying stuff on. It's just built from the factory to do exactly what you want it to do when targeting blue water fish or using a float line on the reef, using a belt reel. And this thing is just, that's what it's designed for. So this 9-foot section has, I guess when I took it apart, you can see the cable inside of it was a black coated 480 cable. And that cable allows for 3 sections and a 2-foot titanium injector and a standard headhunter tip. So When you set it up with 3, you put the grip section with the grip at the back end of the front tube. You've got a retaining band and a quick link hooked to a black loop. So the black loop on this grip corresponds with a black inner cable. If you wanted to rig this up as the 4-piece 12-footer, what ends up happening is you would take this front section, you'd have to take it apart and switch out the black cable for the orange cable. It's a little longer. Have one here to kind of show you. And so what you would need is to switch out the black cable for the orange cable. And we also have the 4th section, which has an orange loop. And the way you set that up is when you assemble everything, you want to make this front, this becomes the front section, right, with this orange loop. And the one with the black loop, the grip, you flip it around. So instead of the grip being at the back of the front section, it's now at the front of the second section back. So this would go here, and your grip is now here. So you get that extra 30 inches, 24 inches of band pull, and then everything's rigged up. The only thing that you would need to change between one or the other would be the extra section with the orange loop, the orange cable, and then you would need the 12-foot band, which is a little different than a 9-foot band. The 9-foot band, we're just doing a continuous band. The 12-footer, what we've done is we actually created a double band with a longer and a shorter section. The longer section is hollow, like a standard band, and that's what would wrap over your hand when you're going to shoot. So it's a little softer inside, and you don't have anything binding up on this bend. And then we have a stainless steel ring for clipping your float line to. And then we've got the shorter band section, which has 800-pound Spectra as a core, so that you've got your full connection between your spear and your float line. And that can only stretch so much without bottoming out. So you've got a stronger connection there. And so that's for the bigger blue water version. So these 3 parts are really the only difference. I take that back, 4 parts, because you'd want to use the a little bit longer rigged tip. It's the same tip, but setting it up that way, we have 6 inches more spectrum. So you could take that spear and with these parts turn it into a 12-footer. If you have the 12-footer, you can just get the band and the orange cable, and you can turn that into a 9-footer. And the 12-footer is a beast in the blue water. We have customers using it on the reef and they absolutely love it, but they have requested a shorter version for certain situations. And so we finally took the time to calibrate everything, to figure out how to rig it, test it out with different bands, and get this thing balanced so that it can work really well as a 9-footer. And we've been using it for about 2 weeks now. We've had a bunch of guys take it on trips, and I mean, they've been having a blast with it. Laser accurate, super fast, and they're super excited. So that's the new 9-foot Centerline. That's some description on kind of what's going on. I know it's hard to see all these things. I'll hopefully edit in some close-ups of the different fittings so you can kind of understand how everything goes together. Once you learn this, it's an amazing spear. Like I said before, it's probably not the best spear for someone who just wants to pull their spear out of a bag, screw 2 pieces together, and jump in the water. There are some small pieces, some little things you need to learn from a rigging standpoint to make sure this thing is working well. But once you have that down and you understand the fundamentals of what make this spear tick, I think that you won't be disappointed. And this 9-footer is going to be comparable in length to our 8-foot Nomad. This is a slightly longer injector rod, but a slightly shorter. It's only 90 inches of carbon, so it's pretty comparable to the 8-foot Nomad. It's going to shoot a lot further though. To put this on a scale of our different spears, the Predator is going to be your fastest, lightest spear. The Nomad is going to be our heaviest hitting and most overall just durable, simple to use spear. It uses a glass composite, which is just super strong. It's not very stiff, but it's very durable. And that spear can just handle a punishment. This spear is going to fall in the middle of those spears where you're going to keep some of the range and speed and performance of the Predator. You're going to get the durability of the Nomad, and it actually breaks down to 30 inches, where the Nomad breaks down to 40 inches and the Predator breaks down to 60 inches. So this will fit in half the space of the Predator Polespear and in about 10 inches less space than the Nomad. So it can easily fit in with your free dive fins. It doesn't weigh much, and it's you know, it's a spear that you can buy our full blue water kit that comes with the 4 tubes you need to make the 4-piece spear. It comes with 2 titanium injector rods. It comes with 2 tips, a standard 3.5 inch and a 4.5 inch big game tip. It comes with the band. It comes with spare fittings. It comes with spare hardware, spare tools. It comes with everything you would need to just order one thing off our website and go anywhere in the world with spare parts and know that the spear has been pre-rigged, pre-checked, it's ready to go. The only thing I would recommend doing is putting it together 2 or 3 times at home before you get on the boat, so you can watch these videos and kind of learn the gear. Reach out to us if you need to. And so that's our full kit at 12 foot. And then this 9-footer is going to be very bare bones. We're getting rid of the spare tube. We're getting rid of the 4th section, so we're down to 3 sections of carbon. It's coming with 2 fittings instead of 4 like the 4-piece does. It comes with a standard Headhunter rig tip, so it's a little shorter length than the Centerline rig tip. And if you already have a Predator or Nomad, your tips will work with this without any difference in rigging. So the only time you'd have to use a longer tip is when you set this up as the blue water version. And it's going to come with a reinforced band, but it's a simpler band to build. It's just like our big game band on the Predator or Nomad. And it's just a super simple kit. So we'll have this up on the website soon. If you guys have any questions, you know, just shoot us an email, sales@headhunterspearfishing.com. You can go to our website, headhunterspearfishing.com, and see this. You can message us on the website. Yeah, and you know, hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you very much.